Good morning and thank you for joining us. I am Alero Edu and this is Sunrise.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Good morning and welcome to the program. It was International Day of the Girl Child yesterday. Happy International Day of the Girl Child to you. She's no longer a girl, as you can see, even though in the eyes of her mother, if she was still alive, she'd still be a girl, but just say.
Not just a girl, a child. But no, seriously now, what have we achieved where the girl child is concerned in Nigeria?
To be honest with you, just I think it was, yesterday we reported it, that the vice president was raising issues about the girl child. And it was there that he raised a flag, again, that the issue of education for the girl child in particular is very, very pertinent.
Yes.
In fact, he also
It seems to be going southwards.
Yeah, out-of-school children.
Yes, most of them seem to be girls.
Yeah, and he listed a number of states. All of those states that he listed are in the north, and that's very, very concerning. That's very, very concerning, and a number of people have continued to raise this issue. I remember former President Obasanjo said, I think 4 years ago, that if we don't pay attention to this issue, we're raising another army of insurgents for our future. But what anyone is doing about that right now, it's a question to be answered.
I don't know if you saw the video of children lining the streets. I think it was in Kano. And most of them were girls, thrown out to go and beg. Rows and rows and rows of children, some of them as young as 4, 5 years old, on the streets, begging.
How we are not able to, how we don't feel shame for that beats me. Many years ago, Tosin Jegede, I understand she's still very much alive, sang a song, "Parents, listen to your children. We are the leaders of tomorrow." I don't think she ever became that leader of the tomorrow that she was.
In this matter of leader of tomorrow, I think you should just drop it. You should just drop
So
it.
let's talk to the leaders of today about the incessant delayed flights.
Oh.
Yes. You have an appointment for 10 o'clock at a place, and you say, okay, well, if you take a flight at 8 o'clock, say latest you land at 9 o'clock, you take a trip by, say, a car ride or something to the destination, by 9:30 you should be at the venue. Next thing you hear, that flight of 8 a.m. for a meeting at 10 a.m. is delayed by 2 hours.
Not a Nigerian. Why would you take a flight at 8 for a 10 o'clock appointment?
Why should it not be possible? Why should that not be possible?
If you have a 10 o'clock appointment, you go the day before.
You know, I actually thought that the aviation industry in Nigeria had become born again. I actually thought so.
Well,
because for a few times I flew, they said this is the time we're going to take off, and we did take off those times. I had a flight for 8 p.m., for 4 p.m. Next thing I heard, it's been moved to 8 p.m. And I don't like wakaing in the night. And next thing, you book another flight, they're also delayed.
I remember several years ago, Mr. Resi was on this program, and he told us, he says, okay, passengers' Bill of Rights. Now, if an airline says they're going to take off by 10, by a few minutes to 10, by 10 o'clock, they're actually pushing off. And we all thought, wow, wonderful news. You know, you can now take an 8 o'clock flight or a 7 o'clock flight for a 10 o'clock appointment. That was several years ago.
Yeah, but now what they say about the Bill of Rights is when your flight is delayed, they give you biscuits and soft drinks.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And what makes you think I want soft drink?
And biscuits.
And biscuits. And whatever it is.
I just want to get to
my destination. It reminds me of what Ibukwan Osuka said in one of her content that she put out. When they asked her, what's your favorite destination in the world? She said, look, you know what? I love destinations, but I don't like the travel. I thought I was the only one. I
If I could just shut my eye,
and just
open and be there.
I'm going to be one of those, the first set of people to jump on teleportation. And that doesn't also take away the issue from the hardship in the land. I know that we're already beating out of our time.
That one. When the fuel price was increased for the second time in 2 months on Wednesday, it was like, at this point, I give up. I give up.
But really, can you?
Well, what can one do? I mean, okay, we were talking about people not having savings before now. What about now? People hardly have enough to eat. So we can't even be talking about savings or disposable income. Disposable income is non-existent.
You know,
it's dead.
By the way, that also reminds me, I hear that the federal government has put out a website for those who want to convert their vehicles to CNG, and that they can pay installmentally.
What is the total price that you are paying installmentally, if I may ask?
I haven't asked. Okay. But if your car, for instance, you have to fill it once a week. Let's just say once a week, even though you have to fill it more than once a week. Let's just say once a week you have to fill your tank from empty to the top. And it's maybe like 100 liters or 50 liters a tank. And you have to pay an average of 1,000 naira every time you fill your tank. That's 50,000 naira a month.
Well, that is still cheaper than a Corolla. A Corolla full tank, 53,000.
Okay, that means it's more than 50,000 naira per tank. And that's, I'm saying average of 1,000, so it could be more than 1,000 naira. Now, so if you have to do that 4 times in a month, that's 200,000 naira.
On a salary of 70,000?
No. If you are earning 70,000 naira, you can't have a car now.
Okay.
Even at that.
Okay. Even if you are earning 200,000, you can't have a car.
You can't.
Let's face it.
So
let's face it.
You know, and so the CNG thing.
We have all been impoverished.
No, the thing is, we have been living a lie for a long time, Alera.
Okay.
We have been living a lie. We have not been facing the realities of our lives.
I saw a Land Cruiser by my junction parking, and it was being used as kabu-kabu. I mean, a Land Cruiser cannot be car hire, for God's sake. And it's parking on the side of the road and picking up people. They're all piling into the car.
What are you talking about?
That is not car hire. That is kabu-kabu.
Okay, well, kabu-kabu.
Yes.
Because
kabu-kabu is different from car hire.
At the airport, I saw a GX470.
No. Those. Yes, you can rent an SUV. Okay. Of any color, shape, or form that you want. But they are not going to be parking on the side of the road and picking up passengers.
Jingle.
No, you just say where you're going. He tells you which direction his boss has sent him.
Okay.
He says, okay, I'm going to Ikeja under bridge. So Ikeja under bridge, oh yeah, wale.
Okay.
The guy is earning 100,000 naira a month.
Yeah.
So he needs extra income from somewhere.
He has to augment one way or the other. So, I don't know, for everyone, I mean, again, I've been labeled, but please forgive me. Governors can do something. You talked about what one particular governor, was doing for his own people. I forgot. Someone was telling me yesterday that as far back as the days of Oshomole, CNG was already a thing in Edo. I haven't confirmed that. And then there's also what is happening in Aba now, where electricity is there, even though it's a private sector initiative encouraged by the government. As far back as the days of Tinubu, he wanted IPP in Lagos himself, and the federal government at the time had some issues. So what is it?
IPP costs an arm and a leg. That's the whole point. So what's the point of running away from KDC, Keja Disco and all that, and jumping into IPP and end up paying more?
I agree. IPP costs an arm and a leg, but that would be a state government initiative, not a federal government initiative.
True.
Now, if its state government does that for its people, the people will be able to earn more and be able to pay more taxes to that state.
Yeah, okay. Since they decided that states could now, go into electricity.
Yeah.
How many states have you heard are doing anything about electricity?
Well, states, that question is for you, not for me.
Water supply. When I was little, there were pumps.
all over the place.
Where you took your buckets and you fetched clean water, which you could drink, actually. Put your hand under, this is what we did in school. You put your hand under the tap like this and you drank water.
Was that colonial?
Do that now. I promise you, you will get typhoid, everything else that comes with it.
Was that colonial government or military government?
Nigerian government.
Oh, okay.
Nigerian government.
Just wanted to be sure.
Please.
Which one of them? So state governments can provide water, potable water for their people all over their states. Let's do something for our people.
Lagos State, where I live, how many areas have potable water supplied by the state?
What happened to that Lagos State Water Corporation of back in the times?
It's there somewhere.
Okay. Okay. What's the menu for the morning?
Coping with economic... Oh, of course, absolutely. We're going to begin by talking... We're going to ask you guys how you've been coping with the economic hardship.
And then there are conversations around physical planning laws in Lagos, adhering to physical planning laws. That's going to be our second conversation.
African Biblical Leadership Conference.
Yes, and 2024 NCOI competition. What's that about?
Then on our lifestyle segment, we're going to be looking at some financial myths.
To help you deal with number one today.
Okay.
And our artist of the week is going to be someone it's not going to be Katawampus, that I can assure you. But that's our trivia for the day, by the way. Sunrise trivia for this morning, Katawampus.
That's the word.
Katawampus.
And what does it mean?
It means Katawampus.
Crooked. Askew.
Okay. So, please check that word up. Bring it up again, guys. Check that word up and use it in a statement and tweet at us at Sunrise CTV, at Sunrise CTV. That's our handle. Use that word check it up. Use it in a statement and tweet at us. Tweet that statement and mention CTV, Sunrise CTV, and we'll be happy to put that up, okay?
In the meantime, get whatever you're comfortable with, whether it is cocoa
or cocoa, because I had one this morning.
And spend the next 3 hours odd with us on Sunrise. See you in just a moment when we get the show on the road. Yes, indeed, we believe in Nigeria, but that belief gets shaken from time to time. Like right now, I mean, we were told that when Dangote refineries came on board, that things, at least as far as PMS was concerned, which is petrol, that things were going to get better. Petrol used to be purchased in dollars, but now crude is sold to Dangote refineries in Naira. He's refining it in Nigeria, and he's selling to us in Naira. So how is it that we're still paying more for this commodity?
Well, one of the answers that you will hear about that one is that dollar is an international commodity, and consequently, it is denominated accordingly. So that's one of the explanations that has been given. Crude oil, petroleum, and everything like it, particularly crude oil and, you know, the primary products, diesel, Jet A1, petrol or PMS, they are all denominated in foreign currency because they are international products. Perhaps one of the issues that has been addressed as a result of that is that the Naira gets under pressure when you're looking for Forex. So denominate it in Naira so you don't have to look for dollars to give to an NPC. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's well, maybe our guests will be able to speak to it.
Well, when we get to it, so in spite of the fact that we're not in a recession, Nigeria is currently facing difficult economic challenges with the constant increase in PMS, otherwise known as petrol, the weakening of the Naira, coupled with a high inflation rate. All these have come together to make it very tough for Nigerians to even feed. They cannot meet their basic needs. Food prices have skyrocketed due to insecurity in the country's food belts, which has prevented farmers from going to their farms. As a result, many Nigerians are struggling to afford basic necessities and cope with the current hardship. Retail stations of NNPC raised the price of petrol. That's another thing I don't understand. How come it is still NNPC setting the price of petrol? But then what do I know? They raised their price to 1,030 from 897 naira per litre in Abuja. And in Lagos, it went from 998.
It went to
998 from 868. The price hike is the second in 2 months. So how are people coping in general? To look at this with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Tayo Aduloju, who is an economist and the president of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, who joins us from our studio in Abuja. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We also have Dari Osamo, who is MD, Raven Energy Limited, who is an energy expert who joins us via Zoom from Abeokuta. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Aduloju, let me start with a very personal question indeed. How are you coping? Have you filled your car since petrol became 100, 1,030 naira?
So how am I coping? It is very challenging. And I think that everyone in Nigeria, whether you are, upper middle class, upper class, lower class, will feel the pinch of the dynamics of the environment now. So we have a combination of a cost of living crisis and the cost of doing business crisis. Because when you look at what determines the cost structure in an economy, inflation, exchange rate, interest rates, those have all encountered the macroeconomic pass-through of the reforms that are currently ongoing. So I think that it's inevitable that even if you're a large business, if you're a medium-sized business, if you're a firm, if you're a household, if you're an individual in the household, right, the pass-through is systemic. And I think almost no one is left out. Even the richest man in Africa has noted that at the current interest rates, for example, is almost impossible to continue to grow jobs. So I think that we are dealing with a systemic macro risk pass-through that was sustained for very long.
Think that there's still a middle class in Nigeria? Personally, I don't think so.
Yep.
I think that class has been completely wiped out.
There is, but it is shrinking significantly because, of course, the number of the middle class that became vulnerable with the pass-through risks we've seen in the last year has sent a lot of them to the lower class, and lower class, several of them into monetary and multidimensional poverty. So, of course, what that means is that structural vulnerabilities, if they continue unabated, will continue to erode not just productivity, but the productive capability of both individuals and firms. So whilst we discuss a cost of living crisis, it's important to remember that we have to halt the risks that these big cost items create so that we can actually move back to productivity. That's the only way out, right? The sectors traditionally that drove high growth and absorbed most of our workforce into productive work remained in stagnation. 67% of the sectors that contribute to GDP are in stagnation. You have a very small percentage, I think 13%, of the economic sectors really driving growth, and that's why you see the sluggish improvement. You know, we went from.
So, Dr. Adeloju, which are these
GDP
sectors that you say
GDP,
are in stagnation?
First,
if you can hear me,
that's sluggish.
Just 1 second,
growth.
Dr. Adeloju. So, which are these sectors that you say are in stagnation that need to be jump-started again?
So there are basically three sectors really driving growth today: ICT, right, finance, and some segment of services, right. The most of sectors, manufacturing, agriculture, which are the labor-intensive, construction, housing, real estate, which are the sectors that traditionally have the capacity to pull more people into productive work, therefore giving them the possibility to lift themselves out of poverty, are the ones that are in stagnation, right? And if you've listened to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria in the last 6-7 months, it's almost a continuous lamentation about the vulnerabilities that manufacturers are facing. And you yourself have just pointed to agriculture, which is doing way below. On an average, agriculture is doing about 1.2, 1.3%, and that's way below the population growth rate. So the thing is, if agriculture does not grow faster than the population growth rate, you can't feed your people. Okay. You know, so as long as agriculture does not fire at 4-5% GDP, we simply will deal with this food crisis we're dealing with. And I understand the point you made about insecurity being one of the drivers of food shortages and availability in Nigeria. But the fact is, the food system across board requires a structural overhaul in terms of how we are planning for Nigeria's food security. So I think that when you look at the sectors that have gone into stagnation, right, there are sectors where the macro pass-through, the FX pass-through risk is high. So many manufacturers in Nigeria still depend heavily on imported inputs into their production. So of course, in the second half of last year, the changes in policy meant huge losses across their businesses. But remember that inflation kept rising locally in Nigeria, so the inflationary pressure was sustained, which means if you brought together the cost of production, right, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and other inputs, all those costs would have gone up. Okay. And what that means is that once the manufacturers cannot produce at a rate or at an amount that is affordable to the market, remember we are discussing the cost of living crisis also, it's almost a double dilemma that then creates this perfect storm, as it were. And the way out is we must get those sectors stimulated back into regions of productivity and high growth, or at least to begin to show signs of high growth. That means some massive investment in primary production, some better coordination of national security architecture around securing lands. And these are some of the things that at the 30th summit, starting on Monday, we'll be discussing. Okay. We've actually dedicated the plenaries at the NESG to some of these big NESG's 30th anniversary to some of these big concerns. But Dr. the first idea, and it's a big idea. Dr.
Adeloju, can you just pause for a minute? Can you just pause for a minute? We need to bring the other gentleman, Mr. Osamo, into the conversation. Mr. Osamo, if you were listening to Dr. Adeloju, he kept talking about production and the productive sector. And I was jarred all the time you were talking about production, because we know that our policy somersaults have sent many productive industries out of this country. Multinationals have packed up and left Nigeria. So how are we going to go into this production that we're talking about in order to raise people out of poverty?
This is unusual time, and the government needs to be very deliberate in their policy implementation. There's a difference between having policy and then there's a difference between having policy that we have immediate impact. What the government needs to prioritize now is to look at the targeted sector, just like the doctor rightly put it, the agricultural sector, the manufacturing sector, and the services sector. If you look at the manufacturing sector, one of their major challenges is that of power. It is gratifying to note that lately there has been a marginal improvement in power distribution and supply. That trajectory has to be maintained. Not only that, there should be deliberate policy to equally make sure that the pricing is right, so that the manufacturer will enjoy a bit of relief. With that put in place, at least the cost of power in that sector will enable them to be able to boost production marginally, and by extension be able to increase output. And thereafter, the populace can benefit from that. That is on the other side, on the manufacturing side. You equally look at another critical sector of the economy, which is the agricultural sector, as rightly mentioned. It has the capacity to be able to pull out a lot of people. I know there are a lot of policy like the National Agricultural Growth Scheme. That has to be intensified. A lot of incentive is going into that place. It is not for the government to make sure that they keep to track and monitor development in that sector. By extension, the local farmer will be able to boost agricultural production, and by extension, food price will be able to come down. That on its own should be able to at least have some marginal effect. Likewise, other sectors that are critical to the development of the economy. This is not the time to go for the esoteric. This is the time to face the reality and say, look, we need to work harder. The government has to be deliberate. The savings, potentially the 8 trillion annual savings from the subsidy, has to be rightly applied, so that all those critical sectors are given incentives. It is not the time to be raising tax rate. It is time to increase the tax net, but to equally give reliefs to sectors that are critical to the development of the economy. Those are some of the things that the government has to be deliberate with regards to pulling out the economy, because now the economy has to be jump-start. It is back to the grind, and they have to do a great work in these sectors.
Mr. Samuel, what Dr. Aloju said the other time about the manufacturing sector and the agricultural sectors, both employment poolers, being in stagnation over the years. Do you agree with him?
Of course. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, if you go around, if you drive around the town, you see manufacturing outfit.
Well, can we say the same thing for the micro, small, and medium enterprises who are doing their best in their own way to at least produce from within the country? They don't have the kind of big bucks to do the things big corporations do. So do you think they're also struggling?
Of course.
Would you say they're also stagnated?
To a large extent, the reality is you cannot outgrow your economy. I mean, we are all a subset of the general economy. So it is what it's like your father is not rich, you are born to a poor parent. There are two options. When you are growing up, you are subject to the economy of your parents. Everybody is subject to the Nigerian economy. And that is why the reality is the small scale, the SME, who are the real engine growth of the economy, they have to benefit from it. And I keep on telling people that all the billions of savings from this deregulation should not go into just FAC allocation, because it's unfortunate that we cannot actually see, we are not feeling the impact of this FAC allocation, except for the rate, for the increase in dollar rate and every other thing. So government should by now have a deliberate policy in place to utilize a portion of these savings from the subsidy removal and channel it directly into those sectors to jumpstart it. The SME, especially the SME.
All right. Let me ask you, Dr. Aloju. So there's this issue on the burn, I mean, something that you're also aware of. Perhaps even the first question I asked you about the fuel price. On the one hand, some people are saying it's a fuel price hike. On the other hand, IPMAN is saying it is not really a fuel price hike, it's deregulation. More like saying it's right pricing of petrol. What people see and feel is an increase, and which is affecting everything else. Give us a perspective so we can understand and perhaps be able to own it.
But before you respond to that, Doctor, If they say deregulation, doesn't that mean nobody sets the price? You go to the pump and it is the price that they have got this batch for that they're going to sell it to you. Nobody dictates any price to anybody. Isn't that what deregulation is supposed to be?
Absolutely. So one of the challenges with the conversation about the price of PMS is that Nigerians really have never known the price of PMS in Nigeria because the subsidy regime existed for 5 decades. So most of us in our 50s have been subsidized all our life in terms of PMS. We don't know. We've never really paid it. So that's one reality. Now, there have been different types of subsidy regimes in the last 50 years, and they vary in how they have structured how much Nigeria pays, right? How much Nigerians pay. Now, when the statement subsidy was announced by the president, many of us felt that marked the point you were making, a deregulation. But we were trying to deregulate a product that did not have any local production capacity, which meant we were at the mercy of all the factors of an imported item, including the FX pass-through effect. Now, with the rollout of the Dangote refinery, we finally have the first refinery producing in Nigeria and discovering its cost of production. Now, some would argue that the cost of production in Nigeria would simply not be the cost of crude oil. It's because of crude oil and the power it takes to refine it, which, as you know, Dangote is generating its own electricity and power to refine its crude into PMS, right? And the other, of course, components of the refining process. And Dangote has calculated that and said transparently, this comes to 800 and something naira, for example. So that already gives you a sense of how the cost discovery in a deregulated market will work. Now, when NMPC tries to peg the price at a higher price, then we move away from the concept of deregulation back to someone fixing the prices, right? And I think that what should happen ultimately in a deregulated market is that all the other refineries within the shortest possible time should also be brought on stream and handed over to competent, financially and technically capable managers so that that refinery is competing in the refinery environment with other refineries. And price discovery plus price competition gives us the real price equilibrium and I think that competition will then force the price downwards.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sure
you have one refinery.
Yeah. My apologies. I'm sure that those consequences are going to come up in that conversation that you're talking about, that you're going to have from next week. So give us an idea how that is going to go. We're running out of time, so if you just give us an idea how that conversation you're going to have will impact the economy. Because unless these conversations, difficult conversations are had, I don't know if we'll be able to move past the point that we're at right now.
Nigeria must address energy security. And energy security is electricity, because some of your risks in electricity come from gas to power. Nigeria must assess 50 decades of refining under capacity simply because of incompetent institutions and political risk. Right? And say that that cannot be our future. We are discussing a country, you know, squeezing Dangote when we have refineries we've built with public funds that are not working and that have not worked for years, in spite of billions of dollars being invested in their turnaround.
Well, we're told.
So we must reach a consensus that this is no longer sustainable and people must be held to account.
Okay.
So the truth is,
Well,
as long as we're discussing Dangote, his cost discovery is what we're seeing in the prices selling
well,
at.
I would like to look at it from that same perspective. Just 1 second. I would like to look at it from that, because Dangote is not the only refinery we have that is private. There is also,
Absolutely.
I think, Walter Smith is also a private refinery, and a number of others, you know, here and there. In fact, we even hear that there are those that haven't really taken off. I already wanted to ask a question of Mr. Osama.
Yes, Doctor, at the core of manufacturing is power. Because power is not available, a lot of funds are being thrown into generating power to be able to produce. Therefore, there is no way that we can have affordable, or should I say, cheap goods because of the amount of money that goes into production. So who is going to go into production when they have to pay millions and millions as cost of power to be able to produce? How much are they going to sell the goods that they're producing?
So rapid transformation in the energy system is required. And we have to make some choices. One, the liquidity in the electricity supply sector comes from the fact that whilst we subsidize electricity, right, no one was budgeting for the subsidy for years. So in other words, there's a subsidy on the electricity tariff, but it's not been paid. So we now, as a country, owe the electricity sector about 2.3,
It's not been paid.
2.4 trillion in just liabilities, and that's the past, right? So we must have a conversation that is twofold. How do you refinance the electricity sector with longer-term, cheaper forms of finance and make it productive and accountable? Two, how do you ensure that entities that run the electricity sector can run it sustainably because they can recover their costs and, of course, maximize their investments? You're not going to have investments going into electricity if it's a sector where investors can't have a return on investment.
Yes,
so
true.
you have to solve two problems at once. One, deal with the illiquidity in the sector and the inefficiencies. Okay, and this requires a massive scale of investment upfront. Remove the existing liabilities so that services can increase in terms of quality of service. And if we must keep a subsidy in electricity, we need to pay for it. Now,
Okay, Doctor, I'm sorry to have to cut you short. I'm sorry to have to cut you short. We've run completely out of time, but I must take Mr. Osamo's closing statement before we leave.
Thank you very much. This is the unusual time. The government need to up the ante, and people need...
the government needs to do what?
The government need to up the game. I mean, people want to see... This is not the time for esoterics. The government need to begin to put in good intervention that will impact the life of the populace. I mean, it is obvious that nobody is enjoying this time and period. The government is not enjoying it. The populace is not enjoying it. It is for the government to now utilize whatever saving they are making from the subsidy to help the other sector of the economy in order to pull out the people from the poverty. I believe that things are going to get better. The subsidy is a road. It's a ship that already sailed. It cannot go back to the yacht again. We need to work on the subsidy and make sure that it works for the benefit of the whole Nigeria. That's from my take on the energy.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dare Osamo, Managing Director, Raven Energy Limited, an energy expert. And we also had Dr. Tayo Aduloju, President of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Thank you very much for coming to share your insights with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we go, Alera, let's remind that, we asked for that comment earlier that you should tell us what catawampus, use it in a statement. Originja says, I noticed you are moving in a catawampus way. Somebody said, oh, by the way, Emma said I should say to you that Alera, I agree Alera is not a girl, but she's not a child. Okay. So this one also from Professor Enakena says, in Nigeria, the monetary and fiscal policies going catawampus. I don't even know how that comes into place. Someone says Nigerian economy is going catawampus. I don't agree with you guys. The purchasing power, purchasing power of the people is catawampus.
It certainly is.
Anyway, there is more. Sunrise CTV on X. Post yours. I will take it. We'll back right after that for another conversation. I hope. No, I know that's not catawampus. Dear Nigerian, adhering to state planning, physical planning laws in Lagos is a major priority of the state government.
It's a task that must be done.
No, that is to keep Nigeria one. Oh. Just reminding you. But even that is a task that must be done, I'm just saying. Now, Lagos state government, in the course of this week, lamented increasing number of unapproved buildings in the state, saying there are plans in place to ensure stakeholders comply with required regulations. Now, the State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oloyinka Olumide, was speaking during a press conference in Alausa and said that less than 25% of buildings in Lagos have approval. Let me take that again.
Less than
25% of buildings in Lagos State have approval, which is not good for safety. Well, he's here to answer some of the questions, some clarity, give us some clarity on the issue. Thank you for joining us here this morning, Dr. Olumide.
Thank you very much.
Please help us understand. So, first of all, how many houses are there in Lagos? They must be in millions.
Of course, in millions.
And only 25% of them.
Less than
25% of them have building approval.
Yes.
How does that happen?
No, wait. Lagos State is since 18 what now?
No, Lagos State.
Okay.
Lagos State was formed out of Western State in what year?
1967.
1967.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Since that time till now, 25% of the houses in Lagos are less than 25% of them have approval. Help us understand.
Well, it's not a good story to be talking about. But majorly, I would say that probably due to lack of education and understanding about the real importance of physical planning permits. We've had cases where people even approach our district offices. They were given an assessment and they made the payment and immediately started working. So you can see the level of education in that regard.
They made the payment.
He approached the district office with the intention to build. He showed his drawings. The drawings were assessed, and he was given the assessment to pay, and he paid, and he went straight to site. And
without waiting for the approval.
He has not even started he has not even commenced the proper process.
Wow.
You understand? It is when you now come in with the payment and your drawings are taken in that the process actually begins. So, I mean, that is to show the level of awareness and education on the part of the people, realizing the importance of planning permit. A lot of people still don't know that just like you name a child and you get birth certificate, the same thing with buildings, that you just must get a permit before you go into construction. So for those, I don't want to say, use the word stubborn, there are some who are, of course, knowledgeable, but for reasons best known to them, those ones will be hard on them. But for the larger populace, we need to do a lot of education and awareness for them to know the importance of planning permit.
Doctor, you say that at the point of payment, they mobilize to site without actually going through the process of getting the approval.
Yes.
What has the state done about that kind of behavior in order to deter others?
Yeah, thank you very much. The law setting us up 2019 as amended, we actually have a clear distinction in terms of the processes for building development. You present your drawings of what you intend to build in line with the land use and all the planning regulations. And that building will be screened and assessed. So once it's in conformity with the plan, assessment will be given. Now, you effect that assessment by you making the payment, and you come back with the legitimate receipt from the government with the drawing. That's the actual begin process of that plan. Now, it goes in through the system and eventually it comes out as your approved drawing. However, that doesn't mean you should just go straight and start construction. To some people, again, this is probably new. For you to commence construction, you still have to approach our development control arm to inform them officially that, yes, I've gotten the approval and I'm about to start the physical construction on site. And you will also be screened by wanting to know who are the professionals that has been engaged to oversee that development. Now, what level of safety or comfort are you putting in place? We also demand for insurance, which of course you agree with me, contractor risk insurance, because you have to insure the construction site as well as the immediate surroundings. So all this put together, then you will also be given that approval, which is called authorization to commence construction. So it is after that that you can now move to site. And of course, you'll also have given them your timetable that, okay, at this particular week, I want to do the setting out of the building on site. At this particular period, I want to do my foundation. So that agency now has the plan and they'll come in as at when due. However, again, you agree with me that also there is also a challenge in that regard because that development is subject to the availability and flow of funds to that particular individual. Sometimes it might not be possible for you to have the fund from the day you move into completion. So you find cases where somebody approached and is given approval for, let's say, foundation. So, and the foundation is supervised. And after that, he wants to relax. Now, as at the time he probably wants to come back again for the superstructure, he again has to go back to seek for authorization. And that is why that agency now, because that is quite cumbersome in terms of calling on the number of personnel that we have in that agency. That's why we now have a program called CAP, where we want to leverage on professionals within the built environment as a way of assisting in the supervision of those developments.
Doctor, my question was actually, what has been done to those who did not get the approval and went ahead to build? What penalty was imposed on them so that people stop doing that?
Yeah, naturally, if you do any development without approval, you will be penalized. And you will pay 4 times the original amount expected to be paid. Now, that we've been doing, approaching people and giving them notices. Some will seal up the properties, and a lot of them have been coming back to do the needful by way of getting approval. But realizing that volume of deficiency, we now made a submission to our governor that, look, it's important for us to encourage and assist most of these people who wants to get their buildings approved. And that's why the governor gave that amnesty period. We started from 1st of May. It was initially for 3 months, 1st of May to 30th of July. But when we saw the volume of people coming in, we have to plead to the governor, which he graciously extended till 30th of this October. However, we've also gotten feelers of a number of people that are still making requests, and we're also looking to that in terms of extending the duration.
Perhaps one of the things that a number of people may say is the reason for just going on is, look, they're just going to say, okay, continue anyway, and that they only want to collect money.
That the government only wants to collect money?
Yes, that, okay, we have gotten one approval, and when we go again, they're going to say, okay, pay for this one, and then you can continue. If that is about it. So give us an idea, Does it have to cost money at every stage?
No, 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 no. Actually, I mean, if you try to check in terms of percentage that is paid for planning permits as against the cost of building, it's almost negligible. It's almost negligible, you understand? But again, you have to also appreciate the level of infrastructural development that are going on in the states, because a building in itself is not complete without some other supporting structures. If you have a building without power, for example, it's almost as if you don't have a building. If you have a building without water, for example, it's almost so. All this goes together to get a fully completed building, which, of course, are the responsibilities of the government to provide. However, what we also discovered is that a lot of people buying from, and I would trace this as the major factor. Now, when people buy land from the locals, the so-called Omonile, in most cases, it's almost impossible to get the title. You find cases where somebody just go to CMS and buy one small receipt, a plot of land sold to so and so. I mean, that cannot be evidence of ownership of land. No, it cannot be. And without the root of title, you cannot get approval because you cannot build on nothing. You understand? And that we've seen as the major challenge. And the process is so simple. Before you commit into purchase of any land, it's important for us to clarify the status of that land from land bureaus. You don't need to know anybody. You can get your lawyer to do the search for you. You can also approach the office yourselves and do the search yourself to confirm the status of that particular land. If it is a land that is under government acquisition and is sold to you, you cannot get approval. And what we found out is that people will now go secretly and start construction. There's so many of them all around. And at government time, if it's committed, when the time comes, if it is for road expansion or for new road, for government infrastructure, of course, we will gladly remove them. So my advice to people is that they should try and do the needful. Confirm the status of that land before you commit your fund into it.
There are some people who say they get this land on the basis of, do you know who I am?
What do you mean by, do you know who I am?
I'm sure you are in Lagos, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because we have heard in this same city, a number of people would go and start an infrastructure, and when they are questioned, in fact, they even have security personnel around, and another set of security personnel will want to go and enforce these regulations that you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've had cases of that, so many of them, especially on estate lands. Some of them will put security personnel, police, military, they put them there. And again, that's also part of the challenge that we had in the past, when officers will approach them at infancy level and they will bully them. And, officer maybe one or two, they go out and you have 4 or 5 policemen on the side. They will, sometimes they arrest them and we go back to. But now, I think from 2022, we are heavily fortified now. There is no side we cannot face. But most importantly, I don't think there is really need for that. Whoever, don't you know who I am? There is also another person higher than who you know. There is also another person higher than who that person knows. So, I mean, when we have cases like that, we have channels of raising it up. Sometimes we get the Commissioner of Police. If it's beyond that, we escalate to the level of the Inspector General of Police. Even cases that we have a Chief of Army Staff. So, the law is the law. You can only bully to some level. So,
Doctor, have you had cause to actually demolish any properties for lack of approvals?
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Maybe you're not making enough noise about it, because the more people hear about it, the more they'll be scared of building without approvals.
Yeah. But I think, quite frankly, I think what we have seen has to do with a lot of education, communication and education. it is not entirely true that people just set out to disregard the law. No, cases that we have seen, they're not like that. In fact, some of them even try. But like I said, if you don't have a root of title, because that's the starting point, it's the evidence that, okay, I want to develop, this is my land. So if it is not there, they approach the district office and they are told that, look, you don't have the root of title. And the man will start all the way, go back to the person that sold in the land. Before you know it, the person has gone to Dubai and is enjoying that money. So it becomes a challenge, and the man wants to build. Maybe it's about retiring. So after, a lot of time, frustration sets in, and say, okay, let me start. So we've seen cases like that, and it's not all time that when we go to demolish, it's not a thing of joy. It's not something that we should be happy about. No. We demolish only if it is the very, very last resort that it's actually evident that that building cannot exist. In most cases, what we do is to try and rectify the situation by encouraging the person to do the needful. But it's only in extreme cases that we demolish.
Now, how about there's those who also fall victim of the so-called omonile. You're building, you've gotten layers of approvals, and then you still need the approval of omonile.
No.
Because they won't allow you to build.
You don't need any approval. In fact,
they won't allow you to build.
2 weeks ago, I did address the press about the powers of so-called estates. There are some estates that we noticed they've turned themselves into approving authority. Look, you want to develop your building. The design is a secret known to you, and it should be known only to you and to the government. There is no estate that we've given the power to screen any drawing. No, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. When you want to build, you send in your drawings to the government, and you begin. No estate has approval to screen any drawing, and they don't also have the approval and competency to supervise drawing. They don't have that, and we have not granted any estate or any agency to do that responsibility on behalf of the government. No. What they do as an estate, you can come together under the agreement that, okay, you want to do development, there is going to be some level of disturbance to the environment. Trucks will move in with sands and granite, and okay, for that reason, contribute something to the development of the estate. Fine, that's their internal arrangement. But nobody has any right to pass any drawing to any estate. It is absolutely illegal. And if we hear that, we're going to deal very seriously with those estates.
The idea of Lagos being a mega city, sometimes you are in some parts of Lagos and you wonder what the government is going to do about those areas for it to fit into the plan of Lagos to move Lagos up to the status of a mega city. And I'm sure in your mind now, there are pictures of certain of those areas, the central Lagos, Agege, Oshodi, and places like that. What are the plans for such areas that don't seem to have any kind of demarcation or any kind of visible planning?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good enough. What you've just raised is part of the thing that we observe, and we're planning to have the very first physical planning summit, tag Physical Planning Summit 2024, the very first. And the purpose is for us to let the people know what exactly do we mean when we say development plans for a particular area. Koshofe Model City Plan, what does it mean? What does it, Badagry Regional Master Plan, what does that mean? We want them to know the importance of those plans and why they are made, and also for them to recognize their inputs into those plans, because it ends up to form our own operative development plans. Now, one thing now is to have those plans. When those plans comes out, expected is supposed to be the property of not only the government, but also the people. Because on the side of the people, they have expectation. On the side of the government, they have implementation. Now, what we just raised boils down to implementation. Now, those plans are there, very beautiful, marvelous. But do we have the financial capacity, muscles to execute all those plans? So we think that it's time for us to sit down together that, okay, let's even look at what are the challenges of implementing those plans. Now, the ones that we've had, can we rate ourselves what level of percentage have we achieved in terms of implementation? Now, if it is not a very good score mark, what can we do to ensure that plans that are produced are fully implemented?
Well, clearly.
So those are the, what we are trying to look at, that is it not time for us to open up and see by way of a PPP arrangement where private people can now come in the execution and implementation of those plans, both local and international?
Okay. Well, it's clearly, it's like saying, disobey physical planning laws at your own risk.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Dr. Oloyinka Olumide, Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Lagos State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I told you, this is not a Katawampos conversation. So, by the way, there are still some other meanings that have come up. Someone said...
Some Katawampos meanings.
Some Kata... Someone says, Nigeria's fuel landscape is askew, careening Katawampus with no clear solution in sight. Oh my God. Can you please have mercy? Babatunde Olani says, Katawampus. Several electricity poles along many Nigerian highways have become perilously Katawampus from their fixed positions. Oh my God. Send yours as well. We'll be right back.
The African Biblical Leadership Initiative sits to equip, inspire, and encourage leaders to ignite personal and cultural transformation in Africa. Its message of change and transformation is anchored on the biblical values of integrity, harmony, and social justice. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is expected to be the chairman of the African Biblical Leadership Initiative Conference, to be hosted by the Bible Society of Nigeria, BSN, from October 21 to October 24. Let us welcome the General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Bible Society of Nigeria, Pastor Samuel Sanusi. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you for being with us this morning. Now,
It's a pleasure to join you.
Tell us, what does the Bible Society of Nigeria do?
Thank you very much for your question. The Bible Society of Nigeria is established basically to ensure that the Word of God is available in every known Nigerian language. So, invariably, we are into Bible translation, Bible publishing, Bible distribution. And because we know that many people can have the Bible and not use them, so we also engage in life transforming programs to ensure that people do not just use the Bible as a talisman, just to ward off evil spirit or whatever. That people need to engage with the Bible. So as a result, we go into programs to ensure that people use the Bible as it's supposed to be. And because for everything that we need to do, there's a need for funding. So the Bible Society of Nigeria engages in fundraising activity to ensure that we're able to translate the Bible, distribute the Bible for those who are not able to afford, and of course, run all these programs to ensure that people's lives are being touched with the Word of God.
Okay. How much does it cost to translate a Bible from one language to another?
Thank you very much. You know, the costs keep changing as our economy is changing, but presently, it will take us not less than 150 million naira if we are able to finish the Bible within 6 to 8 years. But in between it can change depending on how the economy goes. But for now, it's pegged at 150 million naira for a language translation to be completed.
Wow. Into how many languages has the Bible been translated so far? I mean, Nigerian languages.
Thank you very much. For Nigeria as a whole, we have about 33 languages that already have the full Bible in their language. But out of the 33, the Bible of Nigeria is a proud publisher of 27 of them. We have other translation agencies who have done 1 or 2. But from the stable of the Bible of Nigeria, we have 27 full Bible that has Nigerian languages, apart from New Testament and portions that we have produced.
Yes, we understand that you have a conference coming up, the African Biblical Leadership Initiative. Tell us more about that conference, please.
Thank you so much. The conference was birthed in Addis Ababa in the year 2010 during the African prayer breakfast of African head of state and head of government. So after the meeting in Addis Ababa, there was a resolution passed that there is need for African leaders to imbibe biblical leadership. You know, when you read the Bible, we have a lot of leaders. We have good leaders, we have bad leaders. So the essence is to ensure that African leaders imbibe the good part of the Bible, given the example of good leaders we have in the Bible, using biblical principles, biblical ideologies, the law of God. And one thing that is paramount in it is the one given by the Lord Jesus Christ, that hear ye, O Israel, love the Lord your God with all your heart. So, and if you love God, then love your neighbor as yourself. If we love our neighbor, if I love my neighbor, then I'll be empathic about what happened to my neighbor. So I will show him love, I will show him care. I won't want to do anything that will make sure that I'll cease to be that I'm the only one that is interested in myself. I'm not interested in whatever happened to other person. So biblical leadership is all about using biblical principles in leadership to ensure that whether in government, in private sector, in public sector, anywhere you lead, even from the home, if you use biblical principle, they are going to have a very enduring, peaceful, equitable environment where everyone is at peace and things go according to the will of God.
Well, this is very interesting. In fact, looking at some of the national ethics in the Constitution, some of the values that you have mentioned are also there. And incidentally, Africa is considered the poorest and least developed continent in the world. What do you think is responsible for this?
Thank you so much for that question. Now, the challenge is still, somebody says everything rises and falls on leadership. And like I've said in many of fora I've been able to attend or have a discussion, I've told people that virtually everywhere I go, people keep asking me, you are in Nigeria. Nigeria is meant to be the giant of Africa. But if Nigeria keeps getting it wrong in terms of leadership, then there's going to be a problem for Africa. But the moment Nigeria gets it right, then Africa will get it right. And so when this event now comes to us, the ABLI itself started in 2010, like I said, and this is the 11th edition of it. There was a disruption during the corona. We couldn't go on the way it's supposed to be. Now, we are looking at value-based leadership model for Africa, that if Nigerian governments, Nigerian people in various sectors of our national life, if we imbibe biblical leaders, and our leadership is based on value, that means that we are going to set a precedence, a model for African continent to follow. Almost everywhere we go, Africa is still like the most poorest continent in the world. But if we say we are poor, are we really poor? Africa has a lot of natural resources that is enough for us to rule the world and be a commander of the world economy. But what have we done with all the resources that we have at our disposal in Africa and particularly in our nation, Nigeria? So this is what is informing bringing leaders of our nation together to let them talk about value-based leadership and how Nigeria can be a model for the African continent.
You know, Pastor, listening to you gives the impression that the leaders we have had up to this point were not reading the Bible. Either they were not reading the Bible or they didn't understand what the Bible was saying. So, are you going to knock their heads and put what the Bible teaches inside their heads so that they can begin to act on it? Because they have been reading the Bible thus far, they just have chosen not to follow what the Bible says.
Thank you very much, my sister. You know, we've got to keep teaching. We've got to keep talking about it. You know, when somebody talk about being born again or giving your life to God, want to serve God, it's not the first day you hear about being born again that you suddenly give your life to Christ. So maybe the way we have said it before, people do not understand. Or maybe the way I've read my Bible before, I did not understand. But I will bring leaders from various sectors together, analyzing the Bible, and now seeing how can we practically imbibe these biblical principles. Then that will help. But we say because people are not working according to the Bible, and we abandon the Bible, then there's got to be more calamity. So if we see that we are derailing away from what the Bible says, then somebody should be somewhere to wake up and say, no, we are not getting it right. Let's get back to the basis. Let's get back to the roots. And so by so doing, we'll begin to, remember and then begin to come to our consciousness that, no, we have not been getting it right. Let's go back and see what the Bible says, and now we can apply that to help our society.
Now, who is that person that will knock our heads back in line?
You said?
Who is that person that you will propose should be the headmaster that will knock our heads back in line when we derail?
It is up, you and I will do that. And all the leaders that are bringing together at ABLI will do that to us, so that when we bring the Bible, then we analyze what the Bible says about leadership. Then all of us will be there together to see how we can move our nation forward using biblical principle of godliness, integrity, honesty, and harmony among our various sectors.
Interestingly,
of our nation.
Yeah, interestingly, I didn't hear corruption in any of these words that you heard, that you just cited now. That's a good thing. But so tell us the date again, the venue, and the speakers, and any other thing that we need to know about it.
Thank you very much. This edition, 11th edition of African Biblical Leadership Initiative is coming up in Abuja on Monday 21 to Thursday 24th at Nigeria Air Force Base Conference Center, Abuja. The theme is Value-Based Leadership Model for Africa. The special guest of honor at the event is the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, CON. General Dr. Akubu Gowon is our grand patron, will be there, and the event is to be shared by a former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. So at the event, we are having our plenary speaker to include Mrs. Beniti Juliet, Director of Programs, Institute of National Transformation. Lagos-based lawyer, Professor Maiso Sekome, a constitutional lawyer, is there. We have Dr. Fisher Magawadi, a social reformer and Christian philosopher. Honorable Justice Catherine Bamugerere from the Supreme Court of Uganda, and Dr. Fisher Magawadi, as well as Justice Moe Moe, a former justice of South Africa. We also have Dr. Sensi Dillon, the CEO and founder of Carmel Global Capital in New York. The Youth Assembly will be rounding off the event on Thursday, October 24, where we're bringing in the youth, because without the youth, we are not talking of leaders. These are the leaders of today and of tomorrow. So the Youth Assembly is titled Arise and Shine, Raising a New Generation of Transformational Leaders. And this will be addressed by Pastor Poju Oyemade, the founder and senior pastor of Covenant Nation, together with Dr. Fisher Magawadi. So these are the lineup of guest speakers at the various sessions of the program. And the various sub-themes of the event have to do with value of justice, value of integrity, value of wisdom, and value of social harmony. So the camp president will be on ground, and many other men of God from across Nigeria and outside. All the general secretary from outside Africa in Bible Society will also be joining us in Abuja, as well as other people from Asia, America, and Europe. This event is put together by the Bible Society of Nigeria in conjunction with the British and Foreign Bible Society based in Sweden, in UK. And for further inquiry after I have left, for information and inquiry, you can call on Grace on +234 703 158 0684. Once again, you can reach Grace on +234 703 158 0684 or grace@biblesociety-nigeria.org. You can also call Barrister John on +234 806 4692 749 for further inquiry about the program. Once again, the event is coming up next week, Monday to Thursday, 21st to 24th of October at Nigeria Air Force Base Center, Abuja. Time is 9 a.m. daily. Thank you very much.
Is there a site that people can go to who are interested?
Yes, they just log on to www.biblesociety-nigeria.org.
Okay, it's on your screens right now.
You want to know about ABLI, it's on the screen right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So those are the
phone number 0806 469 2469. Is that correct?
0806 4692 749.
749.
Then for Grace, 0703 158 0684. 06. Those are the two people you can contact for details. You can also check the website for more about the program.
Okay. You can call Grace on 234 703 158 0684. And you can also call 234 806 469 2748 for more information.
49,
sorry.
Yes.
49.
Well, interestingly, that particular information is also on the website, abli.biblesociety-nigeria.org. Yes, that's it. That's the information right there on your screen, and that's where you get it.
So, Pastor Samuel Sanusi, thank you very much for coming to tell us about this conference, this all-important conference. And we hope that we too would like to see an improvement in the leadership across Africa.
Absolutely.
Especially in our country, Nigeria, because
full stop.
We are moving forward.
Because
we are moving forward. We are moving forward.
I'll leave it right there.
We're getting it right. Yeah, we're getting it right. We're moving forward, getting it right.
Thank you very much, Pastor Samuel Sanusi.
As well.
Pastor Samuel Sanusi is the General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Bible Society of Nigeria. We wish you all the best at your conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Before we go,
some more catawampuses?
Yes. Dominion says catawampus refers to, gives a definition. Says, here's a sentence using the word: the unpredictably soaring prices of fuel have left many Nigerians' finances in catawampus.
In catawampus.
Then Festus Akinboyewa says, eating 3 times a day in this 21st century Nigeria is catawampus.
Most certainly.
But there's this one from Triple Nice. Oizoza says, in these difficult times in Nigeria, when everything seems catawampus, the sunrise reminds us that each day brings a new opportunity to find balance and hope. That's cheering. At least we help you to straighten out the catawampus.
Yes, and I need to remind you of the physical planning conference. Is it a conference?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's a conference which is taking place at Eco Hotels and Suites on the 15th and 16th of October, and it starts at 8:30 on both days, 15th and 16th of October, Eco Hotels and Suites, 8:30 each morning. Right. So we shall be back in just a moment with another interesting conversation. This one concerning the junior achievers. See you in just a moment.
Well, I actually care who you are, where you're from, or what you do, especially because it was International No. Well, what's that thing again?
Day of the
International
Girl
Day of the Girl Child. When was that? Also yesterday? Yeah. Why are you looking at me like you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, interestingly, we have two young ladies that we'll be speaking with this morning. Not the one on my left. No. But let's begin by letting you know that the Junior Achievers, the Junior Achievement
He's
Nigeria,
on my case. He's on my case.
Is a non-profit organization that focuses on empowering people by providing them with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship skills. See, it's not for the lady next to me. So we aim to prepare young Nigerians for the future by equipping them with the tools they need to succeed in an evolving global economy.
Not the old one to your left.
I didn't say that. You just did. I didn't say that. So Ugonna Achebe is with us here. He is the Executive Director of Junior Achievement Nigeria. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having
me.
Again, yes. I believe we have Faiz Nasir Bello from Darun Noor Intercontinental School, Kano State?
Yes, sir.
And you are Hawa Abdullahi Sulaiman from the same Darun Noor Intercontinental School, Kano. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
What was outstanding for you? First of all, let me take Happy International Day of the Girl Child. You're not a child. You don't become, you're a lady already. So how does it feel when you hear that the world is celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child? Okay. Why do you think it's relevant to you? I'll ask you that again. Do you think it's relevant?
Yes, I think it's relevant.
Okay. Why do you think it is relevant?
Because we get time to reflect on the success.
You are just saying exactly what she's saying. Is she the one paying your salary? Anyway. Please help us understand the purpose of this National Company of the Year competition and why secondary schools.
So every year, we have a program called the JA Company Program.
Okay.
Essentially, we're trying to ensure that students have an experiential learning experience. So what does this program entail? Students, at the beginning of the academic year, they come together to identify a problem within their community and prefer a business solution. Now, this doesn't just happen in a normal setting. Amongst themselves, they identify a CEO, they identify a finance manager, marketing manager, human resource manager. And as they do all these things, they actually sell shares to parents, teachers, and other stakeholders within their school, raise capital, and they invest this capital into their business. Now, these students...
imaginary capital.
No, they actually sell shares to parents.
Money exchanges hands.
Money exchanges hands. So they do sell shares. When they sell these shares, they invest the capital in their business. And then they identify a problem in line with the theme of the year. So this year, the theme was greennovation. So it means that all the business ideas or the business practices they go on to do has to do with climate change and sustainable and innovative business practices. So yeah.
Is that what you did?
Hawa? Yes. What did you focus on?
Our product actually was solving a problem like water scarcity, with water wastage. The agricultural sector is having problems with water. It can lead to maybe you can water the plants way too much or way too less. So we came up with a product called
Smart Sprinkle. It is an Arduino-based automated irrigation system.
A what?
It is an Arduino-based automated irrigation system.
Speak English, please. What does...
It is a device that revolutionizes effective water management.
Okay.
So it reduces labor costs, increases resource efficiency, conserves water, and increases crop yield and quality. And at the same time, it promotes sustainable farming practices, and it reduces environmental impact.
How old are you? I'm sorry. Anyway, is that the same thing you also did?
Yeah, I'm the CEO of the company, sir.
You are the CEO
Yes.
of the company. And what are you?
I'm the production manager.
The production manager.
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm overgasted and flabberwhelmed. How much did your company raise?
Our revenue was 950,000.
950,000. And how much was your seed capital?
Our capital.
The initial, what you started with. Let the CEO talk. Maybe
650,000.
you started with 650,000.
Yes.
Who gave it to you? They?
Where did you get the money from? No, CEO.
Shareholders.
Oh.
Yeah, we have our proprietors, Hadiza Nuhu Yusuf Baba.
Oh, speak up. Don't be afraid.
Yes. Hadiza Nuhu and our parents, which gave us 10%.
Okay.
And Hadiza, who gave us 50%.
Okay.
And
so are you going to give them any returns on the investment?
Yes.
Okay, so my flabber is still whelmed a bit, but so where do we go from here?
And where do we go from here? So it depends on the students.
Oh.
Yeah, so it depends on the students. So some of them would like to liquidate their businesses, after the 1-year academic program. However, it's not compulsory to do that. We've seen students' businesses that have continued even after the program. So over the last 2 years, some students started producing bags, and they saw how profitable this business venture was. And because of the situations at home, majority of the students sometimes continue these businesses even after the school, just to sustain the family. So we're not just equipping students to have this experiential learning, experience. We want them to take what they've learned from the program and actually apply it in the real life world.
How does it help that they're in the same school, or do you sometimes bring students from different schools into one company?
Yeah, so the way the program works is we have various network of schools, and in each school, these students come together to form these businesses. We cannot do inter-school because of the logistics involved. So what usually happens is per school, these students make their businesses. In the past, we've had situations where in one school, we had more than one businesses created from these schools. Yeah.
Okay, so they talked about the student, some parents giving them seed capital and everything. So what's the process? How do we progress from there?
So what usually happens is, because the parents have bought shares, by the time they're liquidating, based on the number of shares they have, based on their profit margin, they're able to give, these shareholders dividends. That's if they're liquidating. Yes, please.
And if they are not liquidating?
Some companies are not successful. Some companies go under, right?
True, very true.
Good. So seed money, investment lost.
Just like every other business, some businesses thrive while others fail. At the end of the day, we want the students to understand how
the real world, how business is in the real world.
Yes. So
sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, in the fortunate situation that they decide that they want to keep the company, what happens? What's the plan? How do they keep it? Does the CEO remain CEO forever? How do they align that with their academics and everything else?
So that will be left to them. The next
So
stage,
they can decide to resign from school and face CU?
That wouldn't be our responsibility.
Okay.
But for the next stage for them, they will be representing Nigeria at the African Company of the Year. That would happen in the first week in December in Mauritius. Okay. So all the students or the top executives in the company will be flown to Mauritius to compete with other member nations participating in the JA Company program in their respective countries.
Okay. Hawa, how many of these smart sprinklers have you produced and how does it work?
We have produced at least 25 units now.
Okay.
The product works, we have two sensors, the moisture sensor and the humidity sensor. So these sensors are inserted into the sand. It levels it into the soil. It tells you and detects whether the soil is wet or not wet. So when it's dry, it automatically sends a signal to the device to pump water. The device then sends a signal to the pump to pump water to the farm. And when it's wet or the water is okay, it triggers an alarm back to the device and stops it.
It turns it off.
Yes.
Who designed it?
Us. We designed this ourselves.
How many of you were in your team?
30.
13.
30
of
yes.
You. Okay. And you are the CEO.
Yes.
What's your monthly salary? Don't answer. Okay. Now you've heard the boss here saying that it depends on you whether you want to keep the company or you want to keep it. You want to liquidate, as they say. CEO, what's the plan?
We want this business to grow. We want to expand it, not only in Nigeria and Africa,
and
because
beyond, inshallah,
of the problems farmers are facing due to water scarcity and food security.
Okay. Do you have a farm, or do you plan to have your own farm later?
Yes, we have a farm, sir.
Okay.
That we experiment, and not only our farm, we visit many farms. Before we even started the business, we had to visit many farms to experiment our product.
Okay. So,
and what was the feedback for you?
Yes, it was great.
It was a positive feedback.
Yes.
They were interested.
They were
in purchasing your equipment.
Yes.
How many farms are you planning to sell to soon?
Soon, as many as we can, sir.
Okay. How many people are already on the list that say they want to buy?
10, sir.
10.
Yes.
And
sir.
how much do you intend to sell them?
63,300 naira
per unit.
So a farm may buy several, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can we say that each unit is about 70,000 naira?
Yes.
You can say that?
Yes,
okay.
About.
What if the Federal Ministry of Agriculture says they want to buy these things and give to people?
Yes, they can.
We'll be honored.
You'll be honored.
And buy the patent? That as well?
That means
sell it to them?
Yes, that means when they buy the patent, they can decide that you're not going to be producing.
Oh, no.
No?
No.
That they want to be producing it by themselves?
No, we won't agree.
You won't sell?
Yes.
I hope you have good lawyers.
Okay, Uganda, I'm sure there have been other companies who decided to carry on even after the exercise. So did you help them now register their companies properly? Or what role does Jan play after the project, should the children decide to continue the business?
They have decided to continue the business.
Yes, so we've definitely facilitated with registering a couple of businesses sometimes. I think this was about a few years ago, a school called Caro Favored School. They made handheld traffic lights, right? Handheld traffic lights. We worked closely with them. We introduced them to a patent lawyer. And they were able to, I think they're still in the process of trying to patent their products, right? So it's truly an exciting thing. And Junior Achievement Nigeria, one of the things we try to do is always support these students regardless of what they are going through. Yeah.
And some of those companies are still standing?
Yes, some of these companies are still standing.
As real companies?
As real companies.
And they're run as real companies?
And they're run as real companies.
Wow, this is impressive.
Yeah, I think another interesting thing about it is because of the rich alumni network we have, we always try to ensure that we pair them with mentors, right? So it's not just about what's going on right now. It's all about, do they have the right mentorship? Do they have the right guidance to go through this entrepreneurship process? We do know that some of them try to juggle both school work, academic work. So those are the type of things that we're trying to ensure that the students have the right resources to ensure they can go to the next level.
Anyway, Aisha Danjuma Bawa from Darun Noor Intercontinental School has also joined us. We're going to be talking to her. I'm excited to know, how many of these, students were in that company?
So for their school, there are 30 students. But in terms of the number of students we reached with the company program this year, we reached 5,000 students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you are.
Aisha, this is your company. Tell us what's happening here. And this thing on the screen.
This is not our own part.
Oh, this is not your own company. Yes. Okay. So what, first of all, thank you for joining us. What's your role in this company?
I'm the head of the financials.
The money woman.
So you guys can go.
Move over.
Yes. Aisha, so how are you?
I'm good.
Have you eaten?
Yes.
Did I give you water? So how much is my share in your company? I'm hearing no, nothing. Okay, so tell us, what's the experience been like for you?
It has actually been great because our proprietress, Hajia Hadiza Nur Yusuf Baba, she has been supporting us. I really want to thank her because she has been providing us with all the support we need. Because we need a lot of money for our device, and she's really supporting us. She believes in us. She has faith in us.
60%.
She invested 60%.
60% of 650,000 naira.
Yes.
Well,
so you are the one that is keeping all of that money. Why is she laughing?
Where did you keep it?
In the bank.
And you are you guys signatory to the accounts? Are they signatories to the accounts?
So the way it works, it depends. Majority of the time, they could work with the school's accountants.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So the school's accountant puts them through whenever they need the money.
They go to the accountant.
They go to the accountant. So that way there is some form of accountability, So yes, so that's how it works.
So tell us what this plaque, how you know about this plaque? Okay, tell us what the plaque is about, sir.
So this plaque, it's an award for, it's a female leadership award.
Okay.
Sponsored by First Bank Nigeria, who have been the headline sponsors of the National Company of the Year for over a decade right now. And this particular award was presented to the most exceptional female leader amongst all the girls that participated in the National Company of the Year competition. And it was won by Hawa here.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. As the production manager we spoke with earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So how about the trophy?
Now this beautiful trophy here, out of all the schools that participated in the National Company of the Year competition, their school came out as the grand winners. Which
CEO, please hold the trophy. Thank you.
Look at the way he's even hugging it like...
Yes, he did a remarkable job convincing the judges that, they had the best product.
Wow.
Yeah, so he took the stage by the horn, presented real-time data, which was truly remarkable.
Thank you.
Can you make that presentation again?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. No, you don't have to stand up. Don't stand.
So, Nigeria is currently facing significant challenges related to food and water security. The agricultural sector, which is vital for the nation's economy as sustainers, is plagued by inefficiencies in water management, leading to poor crop yield and resource wastage. Farmers in Nigeria, like Musa Abdullahi from Kano State, are facing serious problems due to poor water management, unpredictable rainfall, and high labor cost. In the past decade, the country has experienced a 30% decline in rainfall, resulting in frequent drought and flood that have cut crop yield by 40% nationwide. The traditional irrigation system lacks the precision needed to optimize water distribution, making the problem worse. With only 1% of arable land irrigated and labor costs consuming 60% of production expenses, farmers are finding it increasingly difficult to sustain their livelihood. These challenges threaten Nigeria's food supply and the stability of its agriculture, highlighting the critical need for an innovative solution to ensure a stable food supply while conserving water resources. That's why we think of the smart sprinkler.
What class are you in?
SS3, ma.
SS3?
Yes.
Yeah. And you?
SS3.
And this started when they were in SS2.
Yeah.
You know, and right now they're now in SS3. So it's been a long year since they've been doing this.
Okay. Did you agree with them when they said that you want to keep this company or you want to just collect
We
it?
have even registered our company.
Ah.
Excuse me.
She didn't even allow me to finish. Like,
a lot of people are using it. We even donated it. We donated 10 Arduino-based automated irrigation system.
Donated to whom?
To farmers, to local farmers.
Who cannot afford it by themselves.
Yes. Like, part of our challenges, most of the farmers lack the financial stability to be able to afford it. And when we went with our product, they were like, it's too expensive. So we decided to donate some as our Spark project. So while donating it, we were also marketing it at the same time. Because when we donated it to them...
How did you afford to donate 10 pieces?
It was our shareholders.
That is over 600,000 naira.
Yes.
So your shareholders...
Yeah.
Donated?
Yes, yes. They weren't the company that paid for the expenses.
What's the name of this company?
Smart Sprout Solutions. And our flagship, Sprout Solutions.
Smart Sprout Solutions.
Yes,
for senior secondary school. Smart Sprout SSS.
Smart Sprout Solutions.
Okay, you were trying to say, conclude your statement the other time.
Yes, CSR project.
Okay, we donated 10 of it, and you should not be surprised how we got the money, because as I told you earlier, Hajia really has faith in us. She's really willing to give us any amount of money.
For her to give you all that money,
yes.
she must have had a lot of faith in you guys.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the plan, CEO?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Faiz Nasir Bello, sorry, Dr. Faiz. What's the plan?
Yes, our plan is to expand the business across West Africa.
Wow.
And we want to enhance our smart sprinkle with an AI.
Oh.
You're all finishing school at the end of this year, right?
Yes.
So, when you all finish school, what's the plan? I know you want to continue the company. You want to keep the company going.
Yes.
How do you intend to do that? Which of you is going to work in the company when you all finish school?
I have a desire to work in the company. I don't know their opinions.
CEO, you need to have a board meeting.
Board meeting required.
Have a board meeting and then a shareholders meeting.
Yes.
So that all of them will know that
we
this
actually
is the plan.
know that we're keeping the company. Like, we want to expand it. As for now, we are already on the 3rd generation one. Like, do you know, you can use your mobile app. Let's say you're sitting in this place and your farm is at home. You can control your farm via a mobile app. If you use the mobile app, it will detect and it will show you the moisture content and the humidity of your soil. So you will know whether your plants need water or when they don't need water.
They're supposed to be the PRO of the company, not the finance person. Anyway, this is well. So their state governors, you have heard. So just go to Kano and purchase. It's not much. It's just 70,000 naira, 10%. Anyway, tell us, Mr. Chebe. Jan is 25.
Yes. So yesterday we celebrated our 25th anniversary, and we had a couple of our stakeholders in the building. The students were there, teachers were there, parents were there, our board members, trustees, implementing partners, donors. We had everybody in the building. It was truly a beautiful time to just showcase some of the things we've been doing over the past 25 years, celebrate some alumni.
Of which you were very proud. Well, so you were celebrated too?
Yeah, I was not celebrated, but we had people who had planted these seeds way before I came in, and these people were celebrated alongside with other alumni that have done remarkable or achieved remarkable feats in their various career and professions.
So is it a one-day event, or like someone said, it's a one-year event?
No, it's just a one-day event. Okay. However, we keep celebrating every alumni, every stakeholder that keep supporting JAN.
Now, you have talked about, you have spearheaded conversations about First Bank. What's the role of a First Bank in this on this project?
Now, without the support of key stakeholders like First Bank, like Bowen, like ACT Foundation, PMIEF, now these are just a few sponsors with regards to the company program and the National Company of the Year competition. Without these individuals, without these organizations, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now. We wouldn't be able to reach 1.5 million students. So since inception, Junior Achievement Nigeria has reached 1.5 million students, and our aim by our 30th anniversary is to reach 3 million students. And this can only be possible with partnerships. And so we'd really like to have more partners to drive this initiative and have more impact.
Okay, so well, we really have to close now. I'm blown away. I'm overwhelmed by all of the good words.
Yes, and I'm sure you all intend to go for higher education.
Yes.
What do you intend
do
to
you
study?
intend to employ people to continue running the company while you were in school?
Okay, that looks like
something to think about.
Yes, no, board meeting.
Again,
another board meeting.
CEO,
issue.
Over to you to call a board meeting again to discuss that.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'm overjoyed. Hitherto, one of my complaints had always been that agriculture was not being made appealing to young people. But to imagine that I can be playing PS5 and still be farming at the same time.
Exactly.
Yes.
She said exactly. I can be anywhere in the world and still be farming. That's a good one. Thank you very much for being here. Let me begin with ladies first. Aisha Njuma Bawa Darun, No Intercontinental School, Kano State. Thank you for your time this morning. I have to also thank you, Hawa Abdullahi Sulaiman. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We've also had the CEO of SSS, Faiz Nasir Bello, Darun Noor Intercontinental School, Kano. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And no, not that SSS. Darun is Smart Sprinkles Solutions.
Sprouts. It's Smart
Sprouts Solutions. That's the SSS I'm talking about. Before somebody will get some ideas. Ugonna Achebe, Executive Director, Junior Achievement Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having us.
Really appreciate it.
Himself an alumnus.
Himself an alumnus. I'm curious to find out what you produce. Don't answer that question yet. Well, don't forget our word for the day, catawampus. And the last comment we've had about that is from Festus Akimboyewa, who says, eating 3 times a day in this century, 21st century Nigeria is catawampus. At least now we know that agriculture doesn't have to be catawampus. We'll be back right after now for more.
Thank you for staying with us thus far. We're now into the lifestyle segment. And today, there's no doctor in the studio. And we're not talking food. No. We're talking something else entirely. We're talking financial myths. There must be plenty of those. Especially from the days of our parents and our grandparents, when they didn't believe in putting money in the bank. Money had to be under your mattress and stuff like that.
Or in colo.
Okay. So the thought of financial planning can be overwhelming, and the number of conflicting advice can also leave you feeling lost, despondent when it comes to planning ahead to make the most of your financial situation. People often think that they have little chance to accumulate wealth because they or their parents didn't grow up with money. Well, because you didn't grow up in money doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and make money now. I mean, a lot of people who have money...
Are you busting the myths already?
A lot of people who have money now didn't come from money. Many of them went to school under trees.
There's some called old money
Went
now.
to school stark naked, some of them. But they managed to make money somehow. How did they manage this? We have a financial expert in the studio, Mr. Kuro Ngobo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Myths about money. Tell us about that. How is it that you can come from nothing and yet become very wealthy?
The first is to clarify what a myth is. It's something usually very popular, but not always true.
True.
There will be some aspects of it may be true, but usually there's some untruth in it. One has plagued me for years, and I broke free from it a few years ago. So you're driving a car and your fuel is short. This is good for this time, by the way. The usual thing to do is to turn off the air conditioner so you can conserve fuel. Some part of it is kind of correct. So I asked several technicians, not just mechanics, and they explained to me, a brand new car is built to do everything in the car.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need extra energy to power your AC or anything else. If your car was a 2002, been in Nigeria for 20 years kind of car, the engine is old. So when you put on the AC, the tendency is it does a little more work, so it pulls a little more fuel. I've driven brand new cars before, and when my fuel was short, I turned off the AC. And I was sweating in the car because of this myth. And that's how myths work. So some of them that have to do with money are things like money is the root of all evil. First of all, that's not true. It actually reads the love of money, the excessive love of money is the root of all evil. Because money answers all things. In the same book where it said money is the root of all evil, right? The thing you mentioned first is also key. How do people come from nothing and then become people who have? Most times it's a choice. There's people say it's luck. I don't think luck is a word on its own without other components. So luck is preparedness, meeting opportunity. They were doing something, and when the opportunity came, they took it, amongst other things. So I really think people have to first decide that I want to break this lack cycle. You have to first decide to. You can be poor in your mind, and opportunities will come past you every day, and you take nothing, you do nothing with them. Like the red car theory. Did you notice any red car coming here today?
I wasn't looking.
You weren't looking, exactly. But if I said for every red car you noticed and captured, I'd pay you $100. Some pink cars will become red in your head. Because now you're looking for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are these, how do these myths affect our lifestyles?
A major thing, or some things that affect what we do, two very important ones are our thoughts and our feelings. In fact, your attitude, by simple definition, is how you think and feel about someone or something. So I like to ask questions like, what's your attitude towards Nigeria? If someone's attitude towards Nigeria is that Nigeria is a failed state, you would, by default, do things to make it even worse. So I'd beg you to leave. So what determines what we do on a regular basis is how we think and how we feel. And myths are part of the things that form our beliefs, our value systems. So when you begin to think something seriously, it affects everything you do. Oh, don't point. This one is not a myth. Maybe it's I don't know if it's taboo, what they called it. When I was a kid, you pointed to an eagle, you'd have lines on your fingers. You kick a stone, your mother's back will break. I heard a lot of them.
There was a financial myth that I read only a few days ago.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know we were going to be discussing financial myths today, which said that if you stored your money in a wooden container, that it would easier multiply than if you stored it in any other kind of like container. Leather or, I mean, come on. I just thought to myself, What does the material
have to do with this? Maybe to destroy the wood would be more difficult than to unzip the leather.
You know that when we were growing up, there were piggy banks.
Yes.
And most of them were box. But these days, they're ceramics.
Yes.
So I should not store my money in a ceramic piggy bank.
I should put it in the colo.
The wooden colo. The wooden one.
Not the clay one, the wooden one.
Colo.
Anyway, one other myth. Okay, so I asked, how do these myths affect our lives?
Yeah.
Now, the reason I asked that question is because, particularly now, in these days, in this age and time, things are quite significantly costlier than before.
Yes.
And people are looking for all kinds of ways to get by, balance out, and things like that. How do these myths, do you think these myths affect our daily lives today that we either need to correct or embrace?
So a myth, again, is generally accepted, whether it is completely true or not. What you believe, what you value, determines what you do every day. So somebody who, for instance, thinks that if I find work and I do the work, I'll make money from it, right, would usually be guided to, hey, let's find work to do and make the money rather than just, for instance, pray, or just pray, P-R-E-Y, on other people to get the money to come in. I watched someone speak one day and it hit me, Kunle Shorinyo, and he was expressing something that you need to have attitudinal support. You have to give attitudinal support to a curse for it to affect you. The way he said it was this: if someone tells a person who's hardworking, you'll be poor for the rest of your life as a curse, it's a waste of time.
Exactly.
If somebody is lazy and not working, and you tell the person you'll be poor for the rest of your life, you are simply just helping the person to become what he's already planning to be. So imagine how myths and beliefs would naturally guide what we do or say, and how, if we can sit down and think about them and ask, how does this add up today? Maybe we'll change what we're doing. Pick the example that was given just now about putting money in a wooden box. When we were kids, they just told you what to do and you just did it.
Yeah.
You don't ask questions. How do you say it in Nigeria? Children of nowadays, they know they hear word.
No, they hear. They just ask why.
Thank you. They ask over and over again. So if you don't question some of those myths, like I began to question the one about your car and the AC, I just continue to do what I know best to do. I will believe it is correct. I will believe the results will be good for me. I would even believe I'm helping other people by doing what I do. Meanwhile, I could actually be limiting myself because of those myths and those beliefs. Anything, whether it has to do with money or general lifestyle, the way you think and feel, the beliefs you have, usually affect what you say, what you do, and then the results you get.
You remind me of what my mechanic told me one day. Of course, I grew up having to put up the AC before I started the engine.
Yes.
My mechanic said, look, whether you put on the engine, whether you put up the AC or you don't put up the AC, this car is going to pick it up anyway. You may want to ask...
So you can leave your AC on and turn your engine on.
See, I just busted her myth. But, you know,
it's safe.
Okay. I think it probably also depends on your car. If it's not 2002, as safe. You know, but you know the reason I'm asking. So essentially, you're saying that our attitudes can affect our finances.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is so that someone will know that it's not just how much money you have that is significant. It's even your disposition towards it.
True.
Tell us about that.
I'm excited to be here talking about this because just yesterday we were talking about personal finance for finance professionals, bank people, bank staff. I was a banker for years. I don't think I was financially sensible with my personal money when I was in banking, like I am today. So I'll give you a few things that come to mind. And most of it is tied to how people see me. In fact, I think that's the biggest challenge, how people see me. So I tell people, if you work somewhere, you should give as much as you can to your employer, including advertising the company and all of that. Some people say, no, I can't advertise where I work on my social media because billing, as we call it in Nigeria, will increase. So I told them something. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. Charles Swinton said that. It's not them asking you for money that's the issue. It's what you do when they ask you for money that's the issue. Because they will ask whatever you do. If you had named your money up front, so you got money 1 month and you said this portion is going to fees, this is going to house rent. I mentioned this some time ago here. If your rent is 1.2 million naira a year, why aren't you saving 100,000 every month? Why is it commonplace to wait till 3 months to the expiration of your rent and then disturb the rest of the world to help you raise your rent? When you had a whole year and you could have been saving 100,000 naira a month towards it.
So even if it's not complete,
there's just a little portion you need to add to it. And if you want to know if you can really afford the house, the thing to ask is, can you save 100,000 naira a month towards that rent? If you can't afford the house.
Go move somewhere else.
Move somewhere else. But all those things about how people will see me, the work I do, people will tell you things like, you can't drive this kind of car, it's not your status. I mean, you understand? And then you imbibe those thoughts, you go around watching out for people and how they say, those things just affect what we do every day. We spend money we don't have, who said that, Will Smith, on things we don't need to impress people who don't care about us regularly. So yes, you're very correct. Every aspect, how you make the money, first of all, what you do with the money, secondly, and whether you think multiplying it makes any sense. To some people, the money will come. Just do what you need to do with it. And they don't think beyond today, like what happens if this job is gone. Many Nigerians, by the way, are 1 or 2 salaries away from poverty. We should capture that somewhere. Many people today are 1 or 2 salaries, paychecks, away from poverty. How do I know? People should ask them. So you're listening, let me talk to you now. Can I talk to them now?
Yeah.
Good. So you're listening to this, ask yourself one question. If your regular income stops today, how many days or weeks or months would it take before you begin to beg for money? Answer the question, then you know how close you are to that multidimensional poverty.
How close you are to Katawampus.
In this day and age, that things have gotten way, way out of hand. People can hardly afford to eat. How can people save?
Okay, the first thing is...
Because you spoke about saving 100,000 a month.
Every month.
If you know that your rent is 1.2.
Yes.
So, suppose you can't afford out of what you earn to save 100,000 naira every month.
Well, the first thing you should do is find accommodation you can afford. We haven't talked savings yet.
Okay.
Because you see, even these people, a myth about savings is that savings is always putting money away that you can use later. Sometimes savings is putting money away to meet an expense. So the 1.2 million naira example I gave is savings, but it is savings to meet an expense.
Okay.
All right? So it's possible to be saving. Savings is not just, let's put money away because we would be able to spend it later. That's the first part. So that's one myth we should turn around.
Dispense with.
Yeah, dispense with. So the question is, how can people save at times like this? Is first of all to make decisions. The right kind of decisions that would then free up some money around you. If you think about it seriously, there's not much difference between pap and custard. The amount of sugar you put may just make them taste the same.
No,
and
sometimes
the
colors. In fact, the color is most likely the same.
And then the packaging.
Maybe the packaging. But in the bowl and in my stomach, pap and custard.
Same thing.
The difference, the financial difference between both could be significant. Is significant.
Yes.
Especially, of course, if you buy the corn and you soak the corn and you grind the corn and then
you know the process yourself.
I know the process. Yes.
You make the pap yourself.
Make the pap yourself. One simple way to look at it. So if people need to make changes that would then allow them save, or because I don't even think savings first, become more financially free. Being able to remove the stress of money being an issue.
Okay.
Just to do that, first of all, is to think your lifestyle and then start making those kind of decisions.
Okay. There's something that I want to ask you. So it so happens that, you know what? Tony, let's take a short break for just about a minute or two, and we'll be right back. But please, let's bring up that Katawampus thing just once
One more time.
I'll be right back. All right, so just a quick one that I wanted to ask you earlier. I just did a little calculation here, Mr. Ngobo, and I've cited it earlier. You didn't anticipate that at the beginning of this year, fuel was going to be 1,000 naira per liter.
Per liter.
Now you have a vehicle that you spent about, you buy about 50 liters.
Yeah.
Every week. Let's say every week. Could be twice a week, but let's say every week. Multiply that by 4. Every month, that's 200,000 naira. That wasn't part of your budget when the year began.
Sure.
At the end of the year, that will be 2.4 million.
Yes.
I planned to save this year. Now I cannot save. Or can I still save?
Okay. I just take the whole hog in one fell swoop.
Okay.
This reality has hit me, so some changes need to be made.
Yeah.
The first constant is usually the income. It doesn't change. You don't get an increase just because, even though some people give you a cost of living adjustment allowance, but it comes once. It's not a regular thing. So bottom line is your income is same, expenses have shot up. You need to go and take a look at every expense component and start asking yourself, what is essential? What is non-essential? Before we discuss fuel, are there things in that expense line, or in those expenses, that we can do without? And you need to remove those myths we mentioned earlier and beliefs and how people see me from your mind before you start doing this.
So first of all, deal with the mind.
Deal with the mind.
Mental part of it. Deal with your mental status.
Thank you. Be clear about certain things and try not to allow your feelings to rule thinking. Feelings usually are not correct. They're not true. They could...
Nobody else matters right now.
Me and survival. Maybe me, my family and I.
Yeah, of course.
So imagine the pap and custard example, and imagine cutting off on 20,000 naira from that expense line because we changed custard to pap.
Custard to pap, okay.
Money accumulates when you take small pieces and put it together. So it's possible to, first of all, for the starting point is do a budget. Most people don't even have a budget at all. A personal budget. I spend this much every month and I earn this much every month. If you don't have one, just write those things down that you usually use money for. And start asking yourselves objective questions. If I can't afford it, why do I have both? Why do I have, not both, all of the streaming channels available to me? And how much do I watch them to warrant my having them? Every subscription that I don't need to have. How many people have paid gym subscriptions and then go to the gym for 4 months? But you keep paying the gym subscription. All right, I can go on with so many things. It first starts with, I need to focus on me. My income is not growing, my expense has to crash. For it to crash, we take serious decisions like that. This same car going to work, carpool. So 5 of us in the same area, live on the mainland, work in the same office on the island. We should talk in the office one day. Can we all go to work together 5 days a week, but each day one person drives? So on Monday I drive, 4 of you join me. On Tuesday Ayo drives, 4 of us join you. We do the same thing every day. Go back to your 50K example. You would buy 50,000 naira worth of fuel, assuming, and instead of buying it every week because you went to work 5 days a week with the car, you would go to work 1 day a week with the same car. And at no cost, you would join your colleagues 4 days a week. That already begins to match, bring closer the income and the expense. That's the kind of thing that needs to be done.
That's assuming that wifey doesn't say, well, since Oga didn't go to the office with the car today, let me use the car to feed the kids.
So you have to have that conversation too. If there's a school bus, keep the school bus going.
Okay, but I'm glad we're talking about this because some people need this kind of information out there. Now, you said that people don't have budgets.
Most people don't.
Most of the time, that budget, how many times has your wife called you and said, Oga,
this budget is not working.
This budget is not budgeting.
It's not working, it's not budgeting.
So, what happens?
Let's take a company or Nigeria as a whole as an example. We create a budget at the beginning of the year, and we don't usually actualize that budget. In fact, Nigeria's budget for years has been one where we expect to spend more than we earn. So it's not completely out of, many countries have budgets like that. Of course, the difference then has to come from borrowings and stuff. Let's come back to the individual. If you created a budget, the first thing it does for you it forces you to have some discipline instilled in the way you do things. So frivolous spending becomes less. Spending on a whim becomes less. Even though the budget is not budgeting, you are doing things from a focused perspective a little more than you used to do.
So there's more clarity.
So there's more clarity.
A little more predictable certainty.
Thank you. You are at the party and they're singing and calling your name and everybody's dancing and spraying. You will receive some sense. Guy, this is not the time to spray. I don't know these people. I don't care about them. I don't have to spray them at the party. Aside the idea of defacing the Naira and co, you would keep your 5,000 Naira in your pocket. Because not as a budget. So the first thing the budget does is it usually probably would not play out the way you planned for it to. But it forces discipline first. So you're not looking at line items to say this one is needed, this one is not. You can take those things out. That's the first thing it does. And it notes discipline is you. It's not the economy. It's nothing else. It's just you. Once discipline comes, there's less waste. Once there's less waste, the tendency of the budget to begin to match becomes easier. But you see, when we talk budget most times, my final words here, people focus on the expense side of the budget only. Please, there's an income side too. So can we increase the income?
Thank you. That was going to be my next question. Good. How do we people... increasing income will mean increasing capacity, doesn't it?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes not necessarily.
Okay, talk to us about that.
Good. The more
someone is already has his whole day full. He's a bus driver or bus conductor or something, or even he's a salary worker. Monday 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. commutes for about 3 hours before getting home.
So what can he do differently? Good.
Or add.
Or to add. The intention is to add. First of all, the more you earn, the more you learn, the more you earn. So if you, for instance, begin to learn about money more, you would definitely be able to earn more. If you learn about anything more, you can earn more. So maybe you learn more, you can increase your capacity at work. Same work, they can promote you faster, you can get more income, you can get more sales commission, whatever. Let's set that one aside. There are 3 things you can do that can make you earn. You sell, you serve, or you solve problems. Sell something. Don't sell everything in your house so your house is not bare. But can you please check for those coolers they gave you on your wedding day? 10 of them, same color, that you stashed somewhere like a caterer. And you done nothing with for the past 10 years.
Or show glass.
Or show glass. So, first, can you sell them? You changed the mattress, you kept the old one. By the way, I have 2 to sell right now. You know, can you just look around? In finance, they are called non-earning assets. Something you own that is earning you nothing, one, and is of no use to you right now. That's probably the starting point. Declutter and sell. In Nigeria, there's now an industry around those who help people who want to relocate to sell what they have. So get them to help you sell it. That's a great part to start. With what you are doing today, no employer pays you for 24 hours a day, every day of the week, Monday to Sunday. No employer does that. So there must be some time you can claw back that can be put to some other kind of use. So could you be doing something at home to help somebody resolve a problem and then earn from it? Remember I said 3 things you can do to earn. You can sell. First part of selling is I can sell what I don't need. Or I can help you sell your car, make a margin on it.
I'm not selling, thank you.
I'm just saying in case you want to sell your car. Second is you can solve problems. Every time you solve people's problems, they give you a reward for it. And problems could be as simple as there's no light in my estate, but you have an ice block machine and you can make ice block. Or I don't want to shave every day, whatever the problem is. And Nigeria is a land of plenty of problems. And then thirdly, of course, serve people. I have friends who run errands. Friends as old as I am who will tell you I simply run errands.
Wow.
Yes. So you have a car, you need someone to fix it. It's expensive. You can't sit with them. I'll sit with them. They'll do what they need to do. When they're done and you pay them, I get a 50K cut for that stress. I'm taking the stress off you, and I'm doing that. People run errands for all kinds of, but they have to be trusted first to do that. So please remember those 3 things. Sell something, serve someone,
or
solve problems.
Sell something, serve something, or solve something.
I have to be careful talking to you.
Well, this is the beginning of conversations about this, Kuro. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Kuro Ngobo is a financial expert, and now you know those financial myths are gunshot and bust. And none of them is catawampus. Finally. Anyway, we're back right after now for the home stretch.
When the man comes around.
Thank you for staying with us all the way to the home stretch. Now, if you heard that piece of music without the video,
you would say it's Jim Reeves' relative, wouldn't you?
Exactly. But it's a Nigerian. His name is Ochiora Okogori, otherwise known as the Countryman.
Better known, actually. That's the countryman.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Like they say, like we used to say in UI in those days, countryman. Countryman. Countryman actually studied petroleum engineering. And I'm wondering why he's not working in one of those big oil companies.
No, he's crude now, his music, crude music.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Oh.
You know.
Okay, welcome, the countryman.
Thank you.
Ochiora.
I'm so happy to be here. It's such an honor to be on this platform, on this show. Thank you so much for having me.
Why are you not in that?
Exactly.
Why am I not where?
On an oil rig somewhere.
Upstream or downstream?
Well, I don't like engineering. I don't like petroleum engineering. I like music. I like country music.
So why did you go study petroleum engineering?
Because I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time.
And you were smart enough to be a graduate petroleum engineer.
I mean, anybody who just, you focus a little bit, you'll be able to graduate. It doesn't really take anything.
Oh, wow.
All you need to do, just go to school, go to class, and write your exams and pass.
Interesting. So how much of that had to do with mathematics? Because I hated maths all my life.
Man, almost everything you have to do with mathematics, physics, and chemistry.
See?
And I hated math too. I hated math, I hated chemistry, I hated physics. I liked English, I liked geography, I liked technical drawing, I liked biology. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. Putting those courses I liked together, it didn't make any sense anyhow, but I just asked, my parents were like, okay, I think engineering is good, and most of my friends were in science too. Most of my friends wanted to do engineering, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Which engineering has money? To be honest, which one has money? And I said, and they told me petroleum, and I went for petroleum, and I was in university, and I didn't like it,
You preferred this?
I picked this up on the side. While I was in school, my mom told me I had a good voice, and that I should join the choir. And I joined the church choir, and when I joined the church choir, I told my mom, Mom, I want to get a guitar. And she said, which one do you really want? You want your driver's license or a guitar? And I said a guitar.
Oh.
And she gave me the money to buy it. I think that was just so that I could stay in the choir. My mom wanted me to be in the choir, so she bought me my first guitar. I went to the market, I didn't know anything, I just went to buy the guitar. And I started playing, I used to sing bass in the church. And somehow, after a couple of years, I found that my voice acquiesced to country, style because of my baritone. And I liked country, growing up. My father used to play a lot of country songs in the car, taking us to school. So somehow, I found that I liked it, and I was good at it. I used to do it, and I used to sing in church. The church gave me my first platform. And they appreciated it, they liked it, and I liked it. And I kept on doing it and doing it. While I was doing engineering, so I go to church. I was a church boy. I go to church, and I play my guitar and sing some hymns. Then I sing some Jim Reeves, like you said, and it was amazing. Somehow I'm here right now in channels because I'm the countryman, not because I'm a petroleum engineer.
Well, you probably could have been if you were a country.
Well, if I had interest.
Because we'll be talking about the NNPC and all of that.
Well, if I had interest, ultimately, I think that life, you have to do what you love.
No, you know what you said. You asked which engineering could make make you money.
Because as a child, I thought it was all about making money. I thought life was about, okay, you know, you just make money, have a house, have a wife, have kids, and provide.
That's life.
And that is not life, in reality. I thought that was life, you know, but in reality, that's not life. You know, I don't want to live an unfulfilled life.
But suppose you do something you love that is not making you money. It's not giving you the ability to provide. What then?
Well, when I started this thing, I wasn't making a dime. And given that country music is not mainstream in Nigeria, it's not like there was any promise to make a lot of money or something. But I don't care about money. You know, I'm here today. Ever since I started, I had that mindset. I don't really care about money, but I don't lack. So I think that there is a misconception somewhere that you need to chase money. I think you need to chase value. I think you need to nurture your flame, the ebullient desire you have to do something, and it will attract everything you need to be alive. Because why are we alive? I ask myself sometimes, and I ask some people, why are we alive? Are we alive to survive? Because people go, okay, I want to get a job, petroleum engineering that has money so that I can make money and survive. So when you survive, what are you surviving for?
I hope that many of those Yahoo boys are actually watching you and listening to you this morning.
Well, the thing is, I've come across a couple of Yahoo boys, people, but the thing is, it's the mindset. They want to make money, you know. They feel like it's all about living the flamboyant lifestyle, but at the end of the day, it's very empty. You know,
they may have a rethink listening to you. This is a guy like me. He's young, he's attractive, and he's saying values, not money.
Well, it may not be what they want.
They just might have a rethink listening to you. So if this guy can do it, you know.
Yeah. The thing is, If you want to live my kind of life, I mean, I'm very happy, you know, and I'm fulfilled. I'm right here today because of this thing I put my heart and soul to. I'm right here sitting in front of you, and I'm telling you that I love it, and I'm probably going to sing a song for you. I don't know.
Of course you will.
There's no escaping.
You certainly will.
There's no escaping that. But tell me something.
Okay.
How has it been received? I ask that advisedly. Growing up, of course, I listened to all the Dolly Partons, the Jim Reeves, Don, what's his name again? Don Williams, and the rest of them. Over time, Kenny Rogers and all. But that was then.
Yeah.
So how is country music, how have you been received as the countryman?
Well, you know, going into this thing, I didn't have a lot of expectations. You know, so any form of reception is going to be positive reception in a way, to be honest. And there is nowhere I have gone to perform that I wasn't appreciated. I didn't like it. You know, because I guess, you know, somehow, I think the golden era for me, it's an anecdotal statement, the golden era for country music was in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel that's when it permeated the world.
Yeah.
You know, and Nigeria too. So somehow, people whose parents grew up in that time, it seeped into their children.
Yeah.
Somehow on a subliminal level.
Yeah.
So there is that little affinity for it. People, it just gives them a kind of nostalgia. So when I go and I perform, people like it. People my age like it. Younger people are fascinated because it's different. Because it's different. I don't think they are interested in it, but wow, this is something different, so I'm going to listen to it. Then the older people, those are my main clients.
Yes.
You, my main clients. You know, so the reception, to answer what your question, has been great. You know, in the entertainment industry, it has been great. I've gotten a lot of love. You know, I've gotten a lot of love. I've gotten a lot of support. I go for shows. I'm being invited for shows and great platforms. I can't begin to mention it because I'll forget some, and I don't want to, you know,
offend anybody.
Yes, but I've gotten a lot of love from Nigeria and the world, you know. So it's been received fantastically.
Okay. Why did you choose country music?
Well, I like it. I like it, and I don't want to say I chose it per se because I said I didn't really know how. There was just it was a kind of gentle curve into it. Somehow we acquiesced. You know, I acquiesced to country music and everything, and I really like it. You know, it is amazing. It's very easy. Another thing.
I like the get up.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Does it? Well, I know you say you don't like money, but you need money.
Of course.
So, is it profitable?
Man, look at me.
That's not the answer. you could gear up for whatever reason. You're coming on TV.
This guitar is not cheap.
Well, you know, I can see.
Yeah, this guitar is not cheap. You know, so yes, this is all I do. And I pay my rent. I'm able to eat. I'm able to do whatever I want to do and support the people I need to support. You know, I think with everything in life, there are ups and downs. There are times of, you know, when it's not very booming, you know, and there are times when it's amazing.
Business is good.
Business is amazing. You know, sometimes you're like, man, I'm on top of the world, you know, and I would say that when it's great, it is really great because it seems like you're not doing anything. I wake up anytime I want to wake up. You know, I do whatever I want to do. I set my schedule. I do my stuff. And I can stay in my house and I play guitar for 3 hours, play and sing for 3 hours. And I can also go out and play for 1 hour and get paid for doing what I do at home. And when I do it, you know, when I do it, I like it. And there was a time I performed and someone was like, man, this was amazing. And I said, I don't think anybody had a better time than I did performing. I love it.
So they pay you for enjoying yourself.
They pay me to enjoy myself. That's the truth. That's the truth. You know, I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's amazing.
Next time they're gonna just invite you and say, okay, come and enjoy yourself on our stage.
Well, I won't come.
What's the competition like?
Competition.
Do you have competition?
I don't have competition in this genre.
Okay.
In this genre of music, I don't have competition.
Okay.
You know,
but what's your plan for it? What's your plan for the genre?
For the genre,
especially at a time when, as you said, I mean, Afrobeats is the thing.
Okay, well, you are looking at it from a small scale. You're looking at it in Nigeria. You're looking at it, you know, Afrobeats.
No, I'm just asking.
I'm answering with that. I'm sorry if.
No. I'm just.
I mean, because you're looking at it from just Nigeria. I'm looking at the world. You know, Afrobeats is the thing right now, but in America, country is
still a thing.
Country is big. Country is a $1 billion thing. You know, and to be honest, my fans are not even here in Nigeria.
Okay, well, some of them are going to join the fan base.
My fans are not here. Most of my fans are in America. Most of my fans are in South Africa. Most of my fans are in different parts of the world.
I guess you do have some occasional live interface, YouTube.
Yeah, on social media. Yes, okay. I have my YouTube. I have my TikTok.
Right. But you're going to give us a live performance.
Of course.
You already said we're going to sing for us, but you're going to sing us out.
Of course.
The show today.
Yeah, so Ochiora Okogeri brings to an end
the
Countryman brings to an end Sunrise for today. We thank you very much for spending your Saturday morning with us, and we hope to bring you a fresh edition next Saturday. I'm Alera Idu, wishing you all the best until then.
And I'm Ayomakide. The Countryman is going to sing us out of the show. So you ready?
Okay, so which song do you want to hear?
Anyone give us?
Tell me one of your favorite country songs. I'll do it for you.
Do you think I have any favorites? My Best Friend.
Oh, you're my best. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful song. That's a beautiful song.
Okay.
You place gold on my finger. You brought love like I've never known. You gave life to our children and to me a reason to go on. You're my rain when I'm hungry. That's beautiful. You're my shelter from troubled wind. You're my anchor in life's ocean. But most of all, you're my best friend. Yeah, so that's my best friend. if there's more, you know, but I have my, before I leave, I have my EP out. I have some original songs. I have my EP out, Love and Hurt. It's a compendium of 5 songs, and I wrote it, I produced it, I mixed and mastered the song myself.
Oh, wow. Do another one.
Okay, which song do you want? Something you know of my song?
Your song.
Okay, so this is from my EP I just produced. Title of the song is Beautiful Life. You know. Rain in the morning, you're waking up lonely. You force yourself out of bed and you feel so sorry. I got something to tell you. If you care to listen, just take a look outside and you'll see what you're missing. 'Cause it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful life. There's whiskey and wine.
I can see it.
There's love so divine. There's music and dancing, and in the night there are stars that shine. There's kisses on cheek that make you feel weak. There are kids in the neighborhood and they're playing hide and seek. Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful life. And if the sun falls out of the sky, call it the night. If the sea flows out into town, I'll surf from the tide. And if the blizzard blows so hard, I'll find me a wife and hold her tight. 'Cause it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful life.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Go catch The Countryman on YouTube or wherever else you can catch him.
YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, TikTok,
everywhere.
The Countryman. Yeah.
Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.